Yeah, so fun night, obviously in Snapdragon. Great to have the fans come out and to be able to experience, the first taste of this 2025 team. Ended with a really great moment with Mikey. Obviously, well earned for all the work that he has done. Some highs and some lows, things that we need to clean up. Obviously, 2 weeks out, and need to have a sense of urgency to refine the details of everything. But pleased with the way the guys went about the business. And the opportunity to get better. There will be tons that we will learn from the tape, which is the process that never ends and the climb that we are on. And excited 2 weeks from now it becomes real, and I know these guys will be excited to go hit someone else and not each other. So looking forward to it.
Questions for the student athletes?
Myles, can you talk us through your big touchdown play?
Yeah, sure. When the call came in, I had a feeling, that I'd be able to do something with it. Bert made a great pass, the line held up, and I just did what I was trained to do and took the ball and tried to hit my head on the goalpost.
You changed your number to 20. Any particular reason or significance for that number?
Yeah, there's a particular reason, but it's kind of in the squad, so the guys know the significance of it.
Deshawn, can you take us through your interception? And did you technically score, or did they blow that too early?
That was a big six.
That was most definitely a pick six.
Out on that.
Oh yeah, it's been a long time coming for me though, but it was so good to get out there, be back with the guys, and play the game that I love. As people know, this is my senior year. It's my last one, so to rock it out in Snapdragon and rack up some more picks this season is a good feeling.
Deshawn, you had a lot of guys back from last year. It's the same defense. What are you looking at this season compared to last? What's different about the whole situation?
Just looking for more improvement. Obviously, we had a bad record last year, and that's in the past. And with this defense that we have so much experience, and so I think we're going to get pretty good and rocking as soon as August 28th comes.
Deshawn, the safety room is deep, talented. You've got obviously a lot of guys came back. You brought new guys with Dougal, Josiah Cox. How's that competition matter a little bit?
It's been great. It's been a battle every day. JoJo and McCuin, they do a great job, a great addition to this team. They have a really, really good role, and they play their role exceptionally well. So to see that safety room just to exceed expectations, I'm looking forward to a lot of big things this season for sure.
Are you playing a different role in the safety? I think last year you were more in the nickel, and this year you're more like one of those pre-safety roles.
Yes, sir. So I'm playing free safety now. I was what we called a stud last year. I think it just showed my versatility. Was out there at corner a little bit, trying to cross-train there too. So being able to show that, it's good for me.
Myles, there's a lot of new wide receivers in the receiver room again. What do you think fans should know about those guys if they don't know all yet?
I think they should know it's a great group of wide receivers. I think we have one of the best groups in the nation in the wide receiver room. I know it's a pretty bold statement, but I think we can back up that claim. And it's some bonded group, and they're just ready to go out and give it their all every play.
What are the different skills that make you so high on the group?
I wouldn't set myself too far apart from everybody else. I'm a guy trying to get it just like they are. I was blessed with the speed, but we have a couple guys that have speed, so I think it's a good group overall.
Anything else for the student athletes?
Just could you both have make a comment about the next couple of weeks and your individual approaches and any observations you have about gearing up for another season?
I think just continuing to sharpen our focus. It's 2 weeks out, and the urgency is pretty high. So being able to stay focused and keep sharpening the iron with our good on good in practice and stuff, and just being able to keep that focus and keep that drive, and just get ready to win a football game August 28th.
Right, and I can kind of piggyback off that. Coming to practice every day with a +1 mindset. Striving to get better every day. Preparing our minds and our bodies for spring break, and just getting ready, getting closer with the guys.
Can you guys talk about Mikey Welsh and him getting a scholarship and the work that you put into to get to this point?
Man, Mikey is one of the most deserving guys I've ever seen. Like, talk about workhorse. He's a productive guy. Like Mikey, I'm very happy that happens to Mikey.
Yeah, he was one of the first people I met when I first got to San Diego State, and you know, he's my best friend. And when I seen his face on that big screen, bro, I can cry for him. That's one of my bestest friends, and he's more than deserving of a scholarship. So to see that and see his face, and just to see the hard work that paid off for him I couldn't explain it in any word. So I'm glad for him.
Yeah, just what does it mean for the team? You know, we've seen Xavier Hamlet as well also earn a scholarship. Like, what does that say about that everybody's been putting in as a group, but also what does it mean to have kind of that carrot out there for everybody moving forward?
I think this determination, especially with Mikey and Xavier, they do a great job with this team, and I think they just go out in every practice and just, you know, I think they play as well as like if they don't have a scholarship, and it shows. They go out there and grind every single day, and I'm so happy to see Xavier and Mikey get that scholarship because they're more deserving and well earned.
What are both of your thoughts about it essentially being a touch football game, no tackling of your teammates?
I think, like Coach says, you know, competitive maturity. I think we've established ourselves in terms of, you know, being able to tackle and being able to be physical. I think that competitive maturity just stay within the game. Being on defense, I would love to tackle, but you know, we're getting close to, you know, game one, so you know, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I agree. Deshawn said it all, like, you know, competitive maturity, going out, you know, knowing what we need to do and how to handle it, and, you know, trying not to hurt the guys, and, you know, being a team that, you know, can go out and do stuff like that and be mature about it.
Anything
Ever
else?
tackled where you got tackled on that touchdown?
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
All right, thanks, guys.
Coach, did you see what you wanted to see from your team tonight? Not just as far as play, but as far as enthusiasm, camaraderie. Did you get everything out of it, what you wanted from this today?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot out of it in terms of what happened between the white lines. It was also the first time that our coaches got in their game day position, so we're up in the box. We got the mechanics of the iPads and, you know, the in between the media timeouts to be able to work through those game day mechanics. It was the first time the kids got to know, all right, hey, where they're going on the bench, because all the other scrimmages that we've done, you just roll and you go, right? And so there's not a whole lot of, you know, the normal flow of the game. So yeah, we got done in the grand process of things what we needed to. There's obviously a lot that we need to refine in all aspects of it. That we'll do that now that, you know, that's been exposed, which is why we do what we do during training camp, to become trained for the opportunities that are coming. We got a great one here in 2 weeks. So yeah, pleased with the effort of the guys. Like these guys, that like they always come out with a great attitude. They always come out with great effort. Like I know they're gonna be enthusiastic, and again, to do this work together for the first time in our home, you know, with all the work that we've already put in. I mean, this is their day. Like they're gonna have fun, right? And you know, I've been having to tell them whoa and not go all camp long. You know, so again, wanted to, you know, do right by the team and put them in the best position to be successful and to come out of this, you know, healthy and obviously with, you know, great lessons to learn and great evidence to build off of and to continue to grow the confidence within the locker room.
Can you talk about what you saw from the quarterbacks today? Like Jaden and Bird and Kyle had a really nice practice tonight.
Yeah, man, I think they all operated well within the system, right? I think the decision-making process was good. Also, we got to value the football. You know, it's great when we have a number of turnovers that we do, but when it's an inter-squad scrimmage, right, you got to, you know, assess why those are happening and everything. And so, you know, at the end, we're trying to make a play, you know, but early on with Bird, you know, we got to be a little bit more accurate with our decision there and everything. So, yeah, I mean, it was good, a lot of good to see. You know, and again, the why is always what I'm most interested in. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? And their thought process and their rationale for why they were doing what they were doing was good, right? And that's something that, as long as it makes sense and it's logical, then you can work that back and deconstruct it if need be. Or, you know, say like, all right, we're spot on, and there's some other just technical aspect that we can refine. But their mindset and their process and their decision making was good, and we'll refine the technical as we continue to go.
Coach, any reason why Lucky didn't get that many snaps after the first right?
He's really good, and I don't want anything to happen to him. I need him to be good in 14 days.
How's the overall health of the team? I know you had a couple guys that didn't address, but overall, is the team pretty healthy heading into hopefully the opening game?
Yeah, overall we're doing really, really well. Unfortunately, this past week, Jelani Whitmore and Dallas Fincher had some non-contact injuries and fluke things that happened with football. Guys really weren't too kind to them, most importantly, or to the team. There were 2 key backups that unfortunately we won't have for this whole season. So, besides those two injuries, not to, belittle them or make them less than, we're in a really, really good spot. But those are two guys that were going to be, very, very crucial contributors for us, right? And so that all led into, obviously, the decision to do what we did tonight and make sure that we're doing right by the team. And again, based off what we've seen through the first, tonight was practice 14, for the first 13 practices of contact, it's been allowed. Like these guys going and letting them go light and being physical, like that ain't going to be the reason why we're not a physically tough or mentally tough team. Like these guys, as Deshawn just alluded to, like they want to go hit, and the offensive guys want to answer that bell as well. So sometimes, as a head coach, you guys say, hey, all right, we got to do what's best, keep the long-term focus in mind as well. Where these guys, rightfully so, right? They're very present-minded, which is where we want them right now. But zoom out a little bit and take all things into account, right? Doing things what's best for the program and what's going to lead us to winning most consistently this year.
So did those two injuries potentially factor into the decision not to tackle?
Yeah. Everything that happens each and every single day, right? There's a lot of moving pieces when you got a program and organization our size, right, with all that's going on. You take into account, okay, initially, like when you mapped it out, and I mapped out the blueprint for camp. It's like, all right, if we need to, we can mix it up tonight. But again, based on what we've seen and what had happened, it's like, don't need to. Right? We know we're going to block. We know that we're going to tackle. We know they're a physical group, right? So we're good with what we were at, and again, talk through that with the leadership council and with the other coordinators, and we're all on the same page with what we need to get done tonight.
You don't tackle, you don't see like a second or third effort from a running back,
right.
A quarterback escape, maybe a possible sack.
Sure.
You feel like you've seen enough of that in practice and know what you have?
Yeah. Our ball carriers and with Lucky and Byron and Christian, and then the athleticism of the quarterbacks as well, and then the run after catchability of the wide receivers as well. We saw a little bit more of tonight and everything, right? Like those guys all do a really nice job, evading first contact and then aggressively pursuing the goal line. So I feel really good about where we are in that regard, and again, the physicality that we have along both lines, I feel good with where we're at. So again, all that kind of factored into why we do what we did tonight.
Anybody jump out at you that worked out?
Myles, see him, make those explosive plays. There's been some opportunities through camp where ball's on his hands, and whether it's a technical error or a mindset, lack of focus, whatever the case might be, like he's kind of been 50-50 at times, and tonight he really shined, which was good to see. It's always cool when you got a young walk-on, true freshman, and Jack who finds the end zone. Like that's always just a good deal. And again, like he's been one of those guys that we've moved through camp. Like he's kind of one of those behind-the-scenes heroes that's making some things go, which was good. And again, like I've been impressed with the overall O-line play of that first group. Like they're tied together, they're connected, and again, right, like you run the ball in a setting like tonight, and Lucky and Byron and Christian, they're bleeding forward for 4 or 5, 6 yard gains, and you're calling 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4, right? Well, it's tag off, and now it's 2nd and 3, and you're like playing off schedule a little bit. But I thought the O-line was really well tied together with that first group, in particular, and they've done a really nice job communicating, seeing the fronts, and Coach Howard's is doing a great job with the defensive front, moving, stemming, doing different things, and so those guys being connected has been real impressive. Really, this whole week, we've really kind of seen that come together.
Talk more about Mikey and what went into the decision to give him that scholarship.
Yeah, he's a relentless worker, like I said, right? He's constantly improved his craft, went through some adversity last year and stayed the course with the surgery that he had to have, and came back, with a boulder on his shoulder and a willingness to earn it and improve it. He's one of the most technical route runners that we have, but most importantly, like he's one of those glue guys that really make a program go. No matter who's in the building and what his relationship to him, whether he knows him really, really well from a long-term relationship, or it's a guy like Jalen Hawkins who just got here a couple weeks ago. Like he makes them invited in the locker room. He shares the information so that guys can get onboarded as fast as possible and learn the how and the why and the what of what we do. And he's just a tremendous teammate. So he's a guy that shows up each and every single day, and we're going to take care of our own in the building first and foremost. And we had some scholarships to play with, and so I ain't going to sit on them. Like whether it's scholarships, NIL dollars, whatever the case it is, right? We're going to use those opportunities and use those resources to take care of ours. We're going to say, hey, work works, and we're going to reward the hard workers. Well, we better do it, right? And Mikey is certainly that.
Can you talk about Dwayne McDougal and what he's shown? He's playing with the first team right now.
Yeah.
Coming in and kind of getting that spot for now.
Yeah, I mean, so he's done a good job, and obviously familiarity of the system, right? Coming in from Idaho, he had played under Coach Aldrich in the past, right? So he's got a good understanding of how the system works, and has that background and that foundation to be headsy and to get into his proper fits and to get into the proper calls and to help us be able to operate. But again, he's just one of those consistent players that each and every single day, you know what you're going to get, right? Like, he's got a really, really high ceiling and a really high floor. So there's not a whole lot of variance when you're out there like, all right, what's his 111 going to look like? Like, it's steady as he goes, right? And so he's been rotating with a very deep group, in the secondary, and I feel like we have a luxury in that back end, regardless of the style of offense that we're going to play. How we deploy the people that we have is going to have to be unique to obviously embrace the opportunities, and the challenges that we're going to see.
How do you evaluate performance when you have two units on both sides of the football and they know each other so well, and they're going at it, and so they know what each other's going to do and such? How does that figure into how you evaluate them?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at all the basic skills, right? I think as you move through it at this point, we're at the end of week 3, we've had 14 practices, you double that up with the evening walkthroughs. I mean, these guys have had close to 30 plus opportunities, right, to where there's pretty understood tendencies, and we're not scheming or game planning one another, right? So you're looking at the pre-snap process, you're looking at the communication process, you're looking at how guys are working through, the base fundamentals of their skill. Because if you're going to become advanced at anything, you do the basics better than anyone else, right? And so just looking at it through that lens, right, is how we evaluate it and how we know where there's room for growth.
Coach, what do you think of the defensive backs? They were really testing a lot of deep shots. Played pretty clean as well.
Yeah, I mean, talented group, right? I mean, a really talented group that has really good ball skills. They will play very close in coverage, and then they're exceptional when it comes to run support as well, so that we can equate numbers in the box. We ask a lot of those guys, and we challenged them with a lot of deep throws. They answered the bell, and excited for that group to play some pivotal roles, in the success that we're going to have going forward. They're going to be guys that, like Deshawn did tonight, right? Like, and not only get PBUs, but you have the opportunity to get your hands on the ball, go change the scoreboard and change the game.
Coach, you introduced the Top Gun fist up before the fourth quarter tonight.
Danger zone.
Also noticed the big boombox that the players had after the game. Can you just speak to some of the genesis of the new tradition wrinkles that you're bringing to the programs?
Yeah, you want to put your style, your fingerprints, right, and most importantly, the personality of the team and the character of the club. You want to bake that into the tradition and the fabric of the place that you're at, right? Like, we've had some awesome moments through camp, right? And the personalities have really risen to the surface, right? We spend this much time, and it's like, hey, you guys know what each other's going to do, and you spend so much time around one another. Like, you guys finally open up, right? You get a little bit vulnerable, and you get to see their authentic selves, right? And so having music, is a part of their everyday life, So yeah, Coach Alvarez, wasn't having music at practice or music in meetings, and gosh forbid we were not walking out to music or walking into music, right? But it's embedded in who they are, right? I mean, like, you look around in society, like, everyone's got AirPod, the buds in, and or the headphones on, whatever the case might be, and it's like, okay, well, you can fight it or you can embrace it, right? If it's going to help change the environment and change the way that they show up, just because there's some music playing, then all right, cool, let's do it, right? And then the danger zone, really stem from, thinking as a staff, how can we make something unique, right? That really ties the community and ties the fan base into, the importance of the fourth quarter. And so all through summer conditioning, we've had certain phases of summer conditioning. In certain days, there's always been, a danger zone area or a danger zone quarter, right, that we want to win. It's one of our goals as a program, is that we are going to win the danger zone. We need, the community. We need, everyone at Snapdragon to help us with that. So we want to incorporate that, and it's a small taste of what it's going to look like, and we'll enhance that as we go and crank that thing up. And everyone on the Mesa and down here in Mission Valley is going to know that it's the fourth quarter, it's the danger zone, and the Aztecs are going to win.